Welcome to NocBro Nation.
Welcome back, guys. Jarrell here.
And I'm Josh, and today we're here to talk about Daryl and his ending to his story. Norman Reedus has some thoughts on this.
Yes, and what it's sounding like is Norman Reedus wants Daryl's story to properly end in the spinoff.
Which means we won't get a true ending to Daryl in the 11C season.
Potentially, yes. So, recently Norman Reedus gave an interview with Variety and revealed that he wants Daryl's Walking Dead spinoff to give the character a proper ending. Reedus talked about the opportunity for bookends that a spinoff brought to the table, giving him a chance to end Daryl's story fittingly. This is what he said. It's such a big show, there's so many actors on it, and there's so much money behind it. Yeah. It kind of went in a direction where it felt like all the things I had put into it and grown and learned from, I kept adding to this pile of awesome stuff that I was adding. It kind of got overlooked because we had to feed the beast. That's been a huge issue with fans of like how many characters there are to, how all the stories of just, when you have that many characters, you gotta fit so many.
I don't know if I really get the hype with that, right? Because here's the deal. Like, there's other shows that can do that just fine.
Correct.
Game of Thrones is a huge example of that.
Huge.
How many characters were in Game of Thrones, but they did those stories just fine.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I know it's not the same, the production for Game of Thrones, I'm sure, was much higher than The Walking Dead.
For sure.
But isn't it interesting that we got Scott Gimple who said all the stories will end in the 11C properly?
We did a video.
I don't know
the
exact phrase that he used, but
yeah, he basically said that they will have a definitive ending. In this, and
how's that a definitive ending?
And it's not really meant to set up the spinoffs, but we'll see. He continues saying, "We had to feed the show and all the people. They hit me with this opportunity of doing something involving my character more and a world around him. I was like, yeah, let me put it to bed like that. I care too much about it to just go. It's over. Bye, everyone." And so, one big part of this, that the person who wrote this article was on Screen Rant. So he mentions Norman Reedus seeing Daryl's story end in his spinoff hints at the possibility that the upcoming spinoffs will have very little intersection with one another. If Reedus sees his Europe-based series as a proper way to end Daryl's story, then there may not be much in the way of crossovers between shows, given the faraway location Daryl finds himself in. The whole Daryl spinoff right now it's so mind-boggling because we're still wanting to know. We even heard from we did a video not too long ago that it sounds like Daryl will be going not willingly, forcefully. So, and he's gonna have to figure out how we got there and all this shit.
And we didn't like that, right? Like,
not really.
I don't know. I mean,
not really.
You could do the same show but base it in the United States.
You can, but
you could even make up the fact that the variant somehow made it over.
Correct. Yeah, you could have went and shot up in Canada.
But I do get that it's cool that we're doing it in Europe.
Yeah.
Are they actually? They're not actually shooting in Europe. Are they really?
Yes, they are.
Okay,
they're filming in Europe.
That's good.
And Norman Reedus, I think, is already over there right now.
That's good.
Yeah. So
at least we don't have to deal with any CGI or
Well, I'm sure we will. There still will be. But I get this point that yes, there are a lot of characters, a lot of actors, you got to feed the beast. You got to feed the main story, the main characters, side characters as much as you can. And The Walking Dead has done a great job of that. To the amount of staff and writing and what they have, the resources that they have, they did a great job of telling the story.
Yeah.
They've sidestepped a lot of characters. They've put a lot of main characters a little bit down the totem pole and brought them back up, kind of.
They've completely dropped characters off the road, off the map. Jesus is a prime example of that.
Yes, they did.
Did not give that character, I think, enough justice.
No, they screwed they screwed Tom Paine and Jesus' character over.
They really
and
did.
That's why he wanted out.
They really did.
He was like, done. I'm done.
And the thing about that is that character had so much potential.
It did. Yeah, it really did. So, getting back to Daryl, we have another video coming up, guys. So we're going to be talking about this, the possible post-credit scene that they could do. But not getting a definitive ending for Daryl in this, and then having to go to the spinoff and get his definitive ending.
Well, I mean, define a definitive ending, right? Like, it's so, you know what I mean?
It's hard. It's hard to do when there's a spinoff coming.
But it's so relative. Like what I mean by that is, what's a true definitive ending for Daryl?
True.
He lives happily ever after, in
Europe now, or unless he makes it back, he'll make it back.
In Commonwealth or Alexandria. Like, to me, a perfect ending to Daryl would be living out the remaining years in Alexandria. Like, he's not the type that's going to go to Commonwealth and set up a new life in Commonwealth, right? Because he's more of like an outsider type person.
Yeah, I mean, guys, we're talking more about the comic books, and kind of in the end, spoiler alert, in the end, the Commonwealth community is ours. It's part of everyone's community. Now, you could say, well,
Alexandria's still there, though.
Alexandria's still there. So, like, well, if he can live in Alexandria, why can't he live in Commonwealth? It's kind of the same community, different but same. Yeah. But you would think that he want his home.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Is Alexandria.
Yeah, that's his home.
Even though Commonwealth is now a part of it all, he would want to be in Alexandria.
And he's just the type of person that, at least that I feel, is, going to stick with what he knows.
Yeah. Yeah. He's still a road warrior. I'm sure he would love to get on his motorcycle and just travel the country. But you can kind of see he wants to stick his roots there. He's got responsibilities.
So, what's a true ending for him? He goes there, or he gets shipped off to Europe, or he stays in Commonwealth. Like, what I'm trying to say is, like, who knows what the true ending for Daryl is? So how can we properly end it, right?
Yeah, I think really what the fans, including us, were kind of. We're going to get an ending for the show in 11C. Boom, it's done, right? Yeah. For these characters. Now, we know that there are spin-offs for Daryl and Negan and Maggie. So, in a way, their ending in the show is not truly their ending. Now, it's going to have a good ending for them, right? A decent ending. And then we're going to see whatever this side quest is. It's kind of separate from the true ending. So, it's hard for me right now to say, okay, this is the true ending of the show. Boom, it's done. Now we have these two spinoffs, and who knows however many spinoffs they're going to plan on doing.
I guess here's a good question. Do you think the spinoffs take away from the finale?
A little bit.
And should they have waited to announce the spinoffs until after the show's done?
Yes.
Right? That's what I think.
Because,
give the fans, their moment of this finale. Let them enjoy it. And then, give us what we obviously want, which is more Walking Dead. I truly think they should have waited to announce these.
I think so, because once we see the finale, immediately our minds are going to be like, okay, now we need to know what's going on with Negan and Maggie and Daryl.
Yeah.
That's immediate. Absolute immediate. Now you're also thinking that of the other characters like, Carol and just everyone that we see who survives. We're going to be wondering in our minds, okay, this is the finale. What would they be doing afterwards? Well, we know the three characters that we're going to see afterwards and however they're going to set that up. But it does kind of take away from the finale a bit, knowing that we heard that these characters were going to stay alive. Now we probably knew that they were, but without knowing, it just takes the suspense away. We've mentioned that
unless the finale is something that you and I never thought of.
Correct, and that's where we'll get it into more deeply in another video talking about a post-credit scene, because what they can do is
even post-credit scene. The entire last episode is something we never imagined it would be.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
that'd be awesome though.
It'd be awesome though. It'd be awesome. It's just these little Daryl news things. It's interesting. We're finding bits and pieces here and there. That was the biggest thing that we truly didn't want for Rick's story. We didn't want Rick's true definitive ending be in his side story. We wanted it in the main show. Unfortunately, we're probably not going to get that. Unless they change things, unless there's a post-credit, unless there's a post-credit scene where they, he comes back. I don't know. We'll talk about it in another video, but you know what I mean? I don't know.
I'll save it for the other video, but I think they should go in a completely different direction and throw fans off, and I'll mention it in our next video.
Yeah. So, Daryl, finishing his story in a spinoff, I could see it as long as it hopefully routes back to him getting back home. That's my biggest thing. I want him to be home. I don't want him to just be Europe bound by the end of that series and just, I'm going to stay in Europe.
Yeah.
I'm going to stay fighting the variant or whatever the fuck he's doing. That would suck.
It would.
Because then it's like, well, you're never going to see Carol again. You never see anybody again. Unless you do another spinoff.
Especially if he's taken.
Exactly.
Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, hey, I'm taken. I haven't had a chance to say goodbye to anyone.
Yeah.
And then I die in Europe.
That would suck. That would absolutely suck. So yeah, guys, let us know your thoughts. How do you feel about Norman Reedus' comments? Talking about how, they had to feed the beast. There was a lot of ideas that he had, but of course they had to shelve those because of what they needed to do for the main show. Do you feel that Daryl's proper ending should be in the main show, or are you fine with it being in a spinoff? Because apparently that's how it's going to work. So let us know what you think in the comments. Let us know your thoughts, and make sure if you're new here, subscribe, smash the notification bell, and like the video. And stay tuned for our other video talking about this possible post-credit scene and some wild ideas that AMC could throw at us to throw us off the ball a little bit. So we'll see you guys next time. I'm Jarrell.
I'm Josh.
We're NocBro Nation.
We're out.